My daughter's cat.
Something about Buzz's cat right there.
My daughter has a cat who I have a sliding door to my office. Are we live?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Breaking news. My daughter's cat's trying to break in my room here.
Peach Pundit, the podcast, is a conversation filled with the personal opinions of the people who are participating. Any view or opinion expressed belongs only to the person who expressed it and not with anyone with whom that person is professionally affiliated.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You know, usually I do that little tease. I'm just going to leave it exactly the way it was because this is brilliant. Buzz wasn't paying attention.
I mean, for those who don't know, the pre-show was a little stressful.
It was
Microsoft,
stressful.
Bill Gates, I guess, I don't know what he's up to. He had to confess all his affairs this week. So maybe in a fit of revenge, he lashed out on Scott's computer.
Yeah,
and updated things unauthorized and screwed everything up. So Scott was kind of stressed. So I'm glad to provide a little levity here to lighten the mood, helps get Scott into a better frame of mind before we podcast. Otherwise, Georgia politicos are about to get ripped a new one. So listening audience and politicians everywhere, you're welcome. I saved you from epic Scott rants.
I don't know if you did or not. Well, that remains to be seen because I have some problems with you people and it's time for you to hear about it. Every day is Festivus over here at Turner household, but we got a lot to talk about. We got, we're going to talk about qualifying starts next week. And ahead of qualifying, there was some news that broke this week around the Frostopus. We also have some retirements happening. We got an update on Congressional District 11. That would be the race to replace Barry Loudermilk. The Democrats doing some funky things to try to express their displeasure with House leadership. And maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. We'll see when we get back.
Peach Pundit has an anonymous Patreon who would like to invite you to learn more about the Alzheimer's Association. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. No one should fight Alzheimer's alone. With your help, no one will. Learn more on their website, alz.org.
AFP Georgia's out in communities across the state, celebrating the policy wins of the last several years and casting a vision for what the future holds. Visit peachstateplaybook.org to learn more about the game plan for freedom and prosperity. Because to win, you have to call the right plays. Thank you to our friends at Americans for Prosperity for being a partner-level Patreon. If you would like to be a Patreon to the podcast, it's voluntary, but it helps us quite a bit. We'll add you to the list of people who rock. You can do that by going over to patreon.com/peachpundit. Sign up for any one of those tiers. Buzz, today I looked down and there was something like 110 messages I hadn't seen on the Signal chat that all of our Patreons get access to.
There's a lot
part of that is
chat
the
about.
Communities. Yeah, there's a lot to chat about. The community is growing.
Yep.
Lots of rumors. It's been a great source for rumors.
Yes.
I think last night
these are the kind of rumors that have a high probability of turning out to be true, not just rumors.
Yeah, it's also become a marketplace for rumors because last night somebody said that they had photos or they had seen photos of a potential congressional candidate maybe doing some things with somebody who wasn't their wife.
Oof.
And I said I would be willing to pay for them. And everybody laughed, but I'm serious. I'll buy those. That was not a joke. I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to pay for those. You got pictures of politicos running around on their wives. I got a little cash in the Peach Pundit account. I'm willing to spend. Hit me up. Let's talk. But I can tell the difference between AI generated junk and reality. So
they're gonna get paid in Peach Pundit merchandise or actual cold hard cash.
Listen, I'm open. Let's just. we'll have negotiations. We'll sit down at the table. But
here we go.
We had big news this week. Big news. The second person to be hit with a maximum $500,000 fine in the Frostopus. That's the $140 million Ponzi scheme run by the Frost family. Well, I guess allegedly,
now,
we should
and
say.
Others.
And others. A while back, an attorney named Craig Kugler. And Craig, if you're out there, I got your text. I will call you back. It's been a busy couple days. It's actually been a busy year so far.
Right.
But Craig Kugler called us a while back, months and months ago when this first broke. And I wrote a story about that. And there's a story about the events of this week also on the blog where I link back to that one. So you can go to the blog, you can read about it. But Craig had reached out to us because he had suspected that Nathanial Darnell, who is the president of our favorite group of goofballs, rejects, and a-holes, also known as the Georgia Republican Assembly, president of that organization, had a broker's license and was doing something allegedly called selling away, which is where they do not have the authorization from their employer, the firm, the brokerage that they work for, to sell products outside of what the brokerage would offer. And this is all a highly regulated market to avoid things like, I don't know, Ponzi schemes from happening.
Right.
And he was directing, allegedly, people into the Frostopus Ponzi scheme and was getting paid. And the state filed an emergency order suspending his ability to earn money as a broker.
And Darnell lost his job, if I recall correctly, right?
That Banker's Life was the
did
brokerage
an internal review and said, you're out of here. So.
Yeah, they did terminate him. The website made it seem like it was for cause, and it was after all this news broke. And the accusations from Greg Kugler and his client, I guess, was what prompted the investigation from Banker's Life. So we knew that a few months ago, Nathanial Darnell had been terminated from his day job. The state alleges that he earned over $249,000 in commissions from the Frosts to put people in. They have text messages. I write about this on the blog. The part that really makes my stomach turn is how they took advantage of people using faith and politics to make it seem like they were good Christians, good conservatives, just like you.
Yep.
Old lady, old man. Give us $500,000. Give us $1 million. Give us whatever. And that is a theme that gets repeated in several of these documents now that the state is alleging. And they also referred Nathanial Darnell to criminal prosecution in Cobb County, whereas Brant Frost the fifth, who we affectionately call Cinco, had been referred in Coweta County.
Yep.
It'll be a race to the courthouse, see which one of these DAs files charges first.
Or
if they do it all.
Yep. And like we talked about last week, this opens up, not a whole lot of money's been recovered yet, right? This, unfortunately for the Frost, the fifth family and the Darnell family, this opens up their whatever assets they might have to the special master to come and get a hold of and return money to the victims, or attempt to at least.
Yeah, what was interesting to me was how the Georgia Republican Assembly immediately tried to spin this to make it seem like this was just Raffensperger trying to change the topic.
That's lame. Lame.
So the Georgia Republican Assembly has been the source of the resolution to try to keep Brad Raffensperger from qualifying next week as a Republican when he officially qualifies to run for governor for the Republican nomination. And in doing so, they're trying to spin this now to say, the secretary's going to try to do anything to get himself on the ballot, but we're going to stay here and fight. Well, Josh, it's going to be interesting to watch next week.
Yes.
Alex Johnson sent out an email to his email list. Somehow I'm still on it. I'm surprised that
so am I. Yeah.
But what are you hearing in the hallways about the Frostopus? Are you hearing anything? Are we going to have any legislators tied up in this, you think?
I mean, it's maybe I'm making a giant leap here, but I think it seems that there were people who were victims, because Darnell says he himself is a victim. But now we learn that allegedly he's being accused of also being an agent of and a participant in the. So I wonder if there are others who are quote unquote victims of the Ponzi scheme who might also be in a similar situation to Nathan Darnell and eventually be accused of also being an agent of the commission of the Ponzi scheme, allegedly. So I don't know, Scott. I don't know this.
I will point one fact out to our listeners, which in the first complaint against Brant Frost V, Cinco, there was a mention of a text message between Cinco and one of the victims saying, you should really set up a monthly contribution to this politician who has been very helpful to us. And it doesn't name who that politician is. So that has spurred a lot of rumors that a lot of speculation, not rumors, but more speculation. Who could it be?
And it's been clear from the get-go that this Ponzi scheme allegedly had two main purposes: to enrich themselves and to build a political empire through the PAC, and through individual contributions that First Liberty and the Frost Fourth and Fifth donated all over the place. I mean all over the place. So if this ensnaring current and former politicians is not out of the realm of possibility here.
Right.
We're not mentioning any names because I don't know.
Right. We don't know who it is.
And this may end up, God forbid, hurting people that we all like.
It could very well. It could. Because the Frost fooled a lot of people.
Yes. Including
politicians.
Yep.
I would put the people who are sort of on the outside and the outer rings of this, the people who received campaign contributions from the PAC probably were fooled.
Yeah.
The only thing I would point out is this. If you're listening to the podcast and you did business with the Frost, I'm going to give you some free advice in this very moment. Okay? If you were an investor in the Ponzi scheme, and I don't know if this is a person that actually exists or not, but if you're listening to this and you're one of the politicians and you did invest it and you got your money back, you probably need to do some soul searching, because that's the rumor. The rumor is there's somebody out there who invested in the Frostopus, and within a few days before the feds came knocking, somebody got their money back when there are all these victims out there. And I don't know who that is, but that's something I've heard. Your life is going to be really hard, especially if you're running for something, if you're running for reelection.
Yeah.
If you're running for an election to a different office, your life's going to be pretty hard. That's going to be hard to hide from, because it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Because the Secretary of State right now is putting a lot of resources behind trying to bring these people to justice. And I mean, $500,000 fines. It's the maximum allowed. And the reason why is because allegedly Nathanial Darnell put about $6.5 million of investments from his clients into the Frostopus. So when you compare the $6.5 million that got taken to the $500,000 fine, it's not that much.
No,
it's a fraction of what was taken away from the people who had their money stolen. And I'll also point out this too, that last summer when I wrote the story about Nathanial Darnell potentially selling away, I gave Nathanial Darnell the opportunity to respond to a series of questions. Yeah. He did not answer any of my questions. And in a statement that I published in its entirety and unedited by me, he said that he and his family had also been a victim of the Frosts, and that he had been in contact with the receiver to see how he also could get his money back. Not disclosing to us that he had actually gotten paid or gotten commissions. And if you want to read the document that the state has produced, it includes text messages from him to Brant Frost V explaining where the money should go and which account to use and how much he should be expected to get paid. It's all in there. So there's evidence of it. Everybody in this country is innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
But you can read the documents for yourself and make up your own mind.
But Scott, circling back to the Georgia Republican Assembly, as you noted, Alex Johnson is out there demanding that this resolution that was passed moments before the gavel fell at the last convention when they barely had a quorum, demanding that Brad Raffensperger not be not allowed to run as a Republican.
I don't think they had a quorum. I think they had changed the rules of the convention so it would not be required that they have a quorum in order to pass resolutions.
Right. So, does anybody
unless
listen?
I'm mistaken.
I mean, and he's been all over Facebook, I've noticed, with this and commenting on threads, attacking the districts that have come out against the Rule 11 waiver. He wants that to happen too, apparently. So does anybody paying attention? Anybody listening? Anybody pay attention? Anybody give these guys any credibility? Because I sure don't.
I don't either. Obviously, I call them the goofballs, rejects, and a-holes instead of the GRA. So, and that's what they are. Alex Johnson is an elitist. He doesn't want the people to decide. He wants to decide for them. And he wants his little band of GRA rejects to tell the rest of the party who they should nominate, who should they be allowed to nominate. He criticizes anybody who says that the party should stay neutral, that the party should absolutely take sides in primaries. Like you don't trust people if that's your take.
Well, his inner circle included Nathaniel Darnell and Brant Frost the fifth.
Right.
Until
the Frostopus became public.
Yeah.
So that leads me to
pretend that they had no influence whatsoever in the activities of the Georgia Republican Assembly somehow.
There are people that we serve with, Buzz, in the legislature that I don't think were our brand of Republicans, but when you look at the totality of their work and what they've been able to accomplish, you have to at least acknowledge that.
Sure.
And I'm going to talk next about the retirement of Lynn Smith. Lynn Smith gets a standing ovation from me today for holding out long enough before she announced her retirement to keep the Frosts from taking a House seat, that she was the only person that could have kept it from happening.
Yes.
So Lynn Smith is not, I don't know that Lynn Smith and I voted very similarly at all, but I like her. She's very kind. She's very professional, very sweet.
Yep.
Whenever we did have discussions, thoughtful. She was more inquisitive than she was judgy. And she has announced after many years in the legislature that she's going to not seek reelection. Yet another open seat coming open at the last minute, sort of. Thoughts on Lynn and her retirement?
Yeah, as you mentioned, a very thoughtful legislator. As you said, we didn't always come down on the same side of a bill, but I never saw her be mean to anybody. and longtime chairman, Natural Resources Committee, knew that space like the back of her hand, and very well regarded by her peers on both sides of the aisle. So a quality person, and I'm glad to know her, glad to have served with her, and I hope she enjoys whatever is next for her life.
She could probably point to a lot of her legislative accomplishments and be proud of various things. But from my perspective, standing as the bulwark, keeping the Frost from actually having a legislative seat, which is probably what would have happened.
Yeah.
But she held out long enough to keep it from happening. And once it became impossible for the Frost to actually put somebody in that seat, is the timing. I don't know that that's a coincidence or not. If it is, then thank you for your service, Lynn Smith. Right. Just for that. Thank you. We hope you do well, whatever you decide to do next. And your service, I'm sure, is appreciated by many.
Yep.
Which brings us to the qualifying is next week. It starts Monday.
Yeah.
We'll go through Friday at noon. And we here at Peach Pundit promise you live footage of when Brad Raffensperger shows up to qualify.
Yeah. Well, that will be a spectacle, I'm sure, especially if there's any attempt. I mean, I've been saying this to friends, and I'll just say this here. If you're a Republican candidate for governor that's not named Burt Jones, I'd make sure you got your lawyers on speed dial just in case any shenanigans come, because unfortunately, despite the backlash here, there are many who want this primary to begin and end with the lieutenant governor qualifying and then quickly move to close nominations and that be the end of it. But that's not how it works. It's not how it works. And that's not, that's outside of Burt Jones' control. That's not, I don't mean that as a slight to him, but there are people who are trying to rig it on his behalf, and that's not good.
So I actually took the step of asking the Raffensperger campaign, when was the secretary going to qualify?
Mm-hmm.
So I would know when to be. And this is how big they know. The Raffensperger camp knows it's going to be a big story because they sent me back a press notification, a form, basically a memo. The secretary will be arriving at such and such time at the Capitol. It will not be on Monday. So you'll know if I'm wrong right away, but it won't be on Monday. If he shows up and qualifies, then there will be no live footage because I'm expecting to be there at the time that they told me he would be there. But they have prepped it. And this is a question apparently they've gotten a lot, because when I asked, can you tell me when the secretary is going to be there so I can be there with a camera? They sent me back an actual press notice saying he will be here at such and such time on such and such day. They know it's going to be potential drama.
Yeah.
So I imagine they're coming fully prepared. I think he should probably bring an election attorney with him. I would not be surprised if we saw an appearance by somebody at the quality or level of Brian Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Tagging along to tell the party, no, you can't. But, Josh McCoon is also, although he has sort of talked out of both sides of his mouth on this issue, he has said that the law says we have to qualify him and that they wouldn't do the resolution.
And he said that immediately after it passed.
Right. But he also added the qualifying statement at the end saying there is an affidavit where you have to swear loyalty to the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And if there were issues with questionable or false swearing, that there may be something else that could be done with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, Josh talks out of both sides of his mouth.
Yeah. And Alex Jones has been running around. Some of his Facebook comments
Johnson.
Alex, what's the difference?
The Georgia version of Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Alex Johnson.
He's been I've seen a couple of his comments where he said we should only, we should enforce the platform, and anybody who deviates from the platform should not be allowed to run. Well, I was tempted to comment. I decided not to. But I did scan quickly through the platform of the Republican Party, and I thought, I don't see anything in there that I know of that Brad Raffensperger disagrees with or deviates from. So therefore, on what grounds should Brad Raffensperger not be allowed to qualify?
Right.
Using the high, pristine standard of Alex Johnson, which is bullcrap, because there are all sorts of, that has never, ever been the case, that the Republican Party looks and says, we're kicking people out of this party and prohibiting them from running for office if they disagree with one item, one line or sentence in the platform. That's never, ever been the standard, ever.
All I know is that you just said bullcrap, and I'm stunned. You need to go wash your mouth out with soap. I can't believe your language.
See what this has driven me to. And I thought we were going to hear epic Scott Turner rants. Instead, I'm on the verge of cursing.
When we come back, we're going to tell you the shenanigans that went on in the legislature yesterday morning, and why. What is the reading of the journal? Why is that a thing? Why is it? What is happening here?
Golden Retriever Rescue of Atlanta, GRA, is an all-volunteer, tax-deductible charitable organization. They are dedicated to providing veterinary care, comprehensive evaluation, and foster and adoptive homes to golden and Labrador retrievers who are abandoned, mistreated, neglected, or left in shelters throughout Georgia. We encourage you to visit their website GRA.com and help connect people and dogs that need each other in their lives. You truly can make this world a better place by helping find homes of gold for these golden-hearted pups.
So let me set the stage a little bit here. I noticed earlier this week that there were a lot of Democrats all of a sudden getting a lot of hearings on their bills in the House.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I didn't need anybody to explain to me what was happening. You just look at the committee that I do a lot of work in is governmental affairs, Senate ethics. If you look at the governmental affairs in the House, lots of Democrats having their bills heard. Steve Tarvin giving every Democrat in budget oversight, fiscal affairs, a hearing. Every single bill that comes to his committee is getting a hearing, including the one sponsored by Democrats. They are giving Democrats the opportunity to move legislation more this year than ever. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do the math here that in order for the property tax constitutional amendment to be passed, they need to get to 120 votes, which means they need 19 Democrats to vote in favor of the property tax constitutional amendment in order to get to that supermajority 2/3 threshold. So I'm not saying it definitely is, but a reasonable person could reach the conclusion that the Republicans in the House are trying to work with the Democrats to, we'll give you some bills, we'll help you move your legislation this year. And with the CA out there, when it comes up, just remember, we gave you an opportunity to move your bills. And then you have what is called the reading of the journal, which by default in the House agenda is dispensed with.
Yes.
The reading of the journal harkens back to a time when illiteracy among legislators was a problem.
And it was very expensive to reproduce the journal, right?
Right.
Printing was more difficult. There wasn't a website you could go to if you were really excited about reading the journal.
Right.
That you could look it up on.
Right. And so it remains part of the daily agenda that, you'll read that if there's an opportunity to read the journal, it will be there, but it's by default dispensed with, meaning they don't do it.
Yeah.
And the speaker will often say very quickly, now we're moving on to reading of the journal. Is there any objection to dispensing? Nobody objects. Reading of the journal has been dispensed with.
Yeah.
Moving on to the very next thing, right? But yesterday, the Democrats decided to object.
You got to be fast. I mean, you got to be on your toes if you're going to object to the reading of the journal.
Right. I imagine they probably would have had to gotten the speaker's attention before then to let them know we will be objecting to the reading of the journal, so he wouldn't just talk over because it happens really fast. It's rapid fire. Bang, 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 bang.
Mm-hmm.
So the reading of the journal, again, it comes from this time period where legislators were a lot of them were illiterate. They didn't know what was in the journal unless it was read out loud. It's also why we have first readers, second readers, third readers.
Mm-hmm.
There was a land scandal. You can go back and read your Georgia history to learn more about how a land scandal unfolded, specifically in the North Georgia area, because legislators didn't know what they were voting on because the bills were not read by them. They couldn't read. Obviously, that's not a problem today. So we don't read the entire bills on first readers. They read the caption. Second readers happens the next day. Third readers right before the bill is brought to the floor for a vote.
Yep.
It's read for the third time. And then the vote, we can have a vote on the floor after debate about the measure. So that's where that kind of comes from. But it would have taken them hours to have read the journal yesterday because the budget had passed the day before. Hundreds of pages that they would have had to read out loud. They might have still been there.
And they probably would have been scrambling around. Man, where's the copy of the journal so we can actually read this thing?
Right. It would have taken them at least 20 minutes to produce it.
Right.
At least. And then hours and hours to read it. Because they would have had to read every bill from the previous day. And again, the budget was in there. So it would have been hours and hours and hours and hours. Why did they do that?
Well, I don't know, but I'm gonna engage in wild speculation.
Uh-huh.
They're sending a message to Speaker Burns that giving us a few bills is not nearly enough to buy our votes. We want more.
Yeah. So I talked to a prominent member of the Democrats, somebody who's been around a really long time, who was there when I started serving. He'd been there for several years and was there, is still there now, several years after I left. So he's got a long time, a long tenure under his belt. And he said that they had threatened to take away some of the bills and that even one of the bills that they were giving to some of the Democrats, other Democrats hated it. So, and then we learned later in the day from another prominent Democrat who told us the Democratic caucus has taken a caucus position against the constitutional amendment, which means even if they're supportive in their own right, that their caucus leadership is saying, you must vote no.
Yep.
That's what a caucus position is. It's when a majority of the caucus, this time the Democrats, have decided that everybody to maintain their membership and good standing in the caucus must vote the same way.
And if you break from that, you risk punishment. You risk being cleaved from the herd and left to die in the wilderness.
Exactly.
And even up to primary challenges. Stacey Abrams would do that kind of stuff.
Right.
When we were there, Scott, I don't recall in my 8 years there the Republican caucus taking a formal position.
Never happened.
A formal caucus position. There were a lot of unwritten. There were a lot of we expect you all to vote for this. That had similar effect.
The
but
difference between that was
a formal. Yes,
our leadership was saying vote for this.
Yeah,
but the caucus was not voting as a caucus because I think oftentimes when leadership was saying you must vote for this, if they had taken a caucus position, they would have been on the wrong side of their caucus.
Yeah.
And I can point to several. The transportation excise fuel tax increase as an example of that would have been pretty dang contentious had somebody tried to make that a caucus position.
Right.
And Republicans generally just don't do that. They allow for the the members of their caucus to take different positions.
And look, if you're in the minority, it makes sense from time to time, maybe even fairly regularly, to take a caucus position on something. And in the case of this, maybe that's a point of leverage to get other things that they might want. And other times it's sending a message to the public. Democrats don't stand for this. The Republicans are just ramming it down our throats, and you should vote for us next time. So, but this case, I think, is leverage.
I absolutely do. The Speaker's chief of staff, Chris Riley, was on the record with the AP as saying that they're going to continue to negotiate with the Democrats the weekend. Because when I got to the Capitol yesterday, I was told early on, we're bringing the constitutional amendment to the floor. And then this dispensing of the journal thing happened. And obviously the Republicans had enough votes to kill the motion or the objection. And so after slowing down the process enough to at least take a roll call vote so that everybody could move on to dispense with reading the journal, they got the message. And so they didn't bring it to the floor. But this is what I would expect on Tuesday when they come back. Pretty early in the day, I think they're going to have a vote on the constitutional amendment. And this is what I would do if I was in leadership. Nobody's asked me, but this is what I would do. The support of property tax reform cross party lines is pretty strong. People want to have some tax relief, especially in the property tax arena, because you have all these people who own their homes and they're on fixed incomes, and property taxes continue to go up, and they're asking, am I going to lose my house because I'm on a fixed income?
Yeah.
At a certain point, have you paid enough taxes on your property? Is a fair question. And it's very popular. I would put them on the record.
Especially like if you can negotiate something and get Leader Hughley to say, well, we won't take a caucus position, then you take a roll call vote and you see, all right, how close are we? How many
close
votes
are we?
What deals can we cut?
You have until Friday. Crossover day is Friday, a week from today, to put political pressure on enough of them so that their constituents can have the outcry. The constituents can see, is my state rep voting in favor of tax relief, or are they fighting my ability to get tax relief?
Right.
And you have the opportunity to create political pressure. And that might have been part of their thought process. We're not going to put them in that position over the weekend. We're going to try to talk with them. We're going to work with them over the weekend. And if they continue to be obstinate, we're going to put them on the record. And then we're going to let the political pressure do the rest.
Yeah. Because it is an election year.
It is.
And even
during qualifying week,
even Democrats, voters don't like paying high property taxes.
Correct. So it's interesting because just the pure political theater aspect of this, the Democrats over the last couple of years have really decided to die on very strange hills. To me, this would be a strange hill to die on. Why are you standing in the way of allowing the people to have their voice heard? Because a constitutional amendment would then go to a ballot referendum.
Yeah.
So why are you standing in the way of letting people vote on whether or not they want this?
Right.
And so that's a strange hill to die on.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know that I would be willing to die on that hill. I'll remind our listeners that there have been a lot of controversial bills that have come through the floor on many occasions over the last 10, 20, 30 years where we had a heartbeat bill.
Yeah.
It banned abortions after 6 weeks. We've had gun bills. We have bills that allow people to carry guns on college campuses. Constitutional carry has passed. None of these bills did they get up and walk out of the chamber. Last year, for the very first time, the Democrats decided they were not even going to participate in the debate on a bill. They were going to get up and walk out. What was the bill that they chose? Taxpayer-funded sex change operations for convicted felons in state prisons. That's the bill that they got up and walked out on. That was the one they decided to make the most noise over. They picked some very strange hills to die on.
There's also there is the bill itself, the enabling legislation, which
only needs 91 votes.
Right.
It's an easier lift, considering most of the Republicans have signed on as co-sponsors of that bill.
Yes.
And it's a speaker's prerogative.
Indeed.
Golden Retriever Rescue of Atlanta, GRA, is an all-volunteer, tax-deductible charitable organization. They are dedicated to providing veterinary care, comprehensive evaluation, and foster and adoptive homes to golden and Labrador retrievers who are abandoned, mistreated, neglected, or left in shelters throughout Georgia. We encourage you to visit their website GRA.com and help connect people and dogs that need each other in their lives. You truly can make this world a better place by helping find homes of gold for these golden-hearted pups.
So as we head into qualifying week next week, we're seeing some last-minute shifting on the Democratic side. Ruwa Romman, who is a Palestinian-born member of the legislature, who also, how do I put this politely? There are a group of young Democratic lawmakers who've come in the last 10 years, and every single one of them views themselves as a historical figure.
Yes.
I would put Ruwa Romman as in the category of seeing herself as a historical figure.
Yes.
And has assigned much more importance to her time in office than I think she has earned.
Yeah.
And she's very self-assured. She has decided to drop out of running for governor to seek the Democratic nomination at the last minute. And she had some pretty interesting things to say. Did you see what she said on her way out?
I did. Yes. Very interesting. So, so she tried to, in a lot of words, more or less say, I have to do this because the Democratic Party needs to rally around somebody to stop Jeff Duncan, because she's hearing that national outside groups are fixing to come in and help Jeff Duncan. So that is interesting. And then Jeff Duncan praised her and her courage and her awesomeness for running and holding up the progressive banner. So
she called Jeff Duncan's candidacy the nightmare scenario for her.
Yes.
And you mentioned how Jeff was kind to her, praising her when she left. She had nothing nice to say about Jeff Duncan.
No, nothing at all.
Nothing at all nice to say about Jeff Duncan. But she, in her interview, I guess, with the AJC, it's full of these phrases like, we've started a movement, for a movement to survive, we have to. There's no big movement to.
Well,
there might
let
be
me tell you
where
I think she gets that from. If you recall, before Biden dropped, before Biden dropped out, right? Democrats who support the Palestinian side of things in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, which obviously Representative Romman would do, and Muslims in general were raising a ruckus in the Democratic. And there were some results that, wow, the Muslim part of the Democratic base is not happy with Joe Biden for the mere fact of allowing Israel, saying that Israel has a right to defend itself in the wake of the October 7th, 2023 brutal attacks by Hamas. And she was in Georgia and in the Southeast kind of leading the charge, one of the ones leading the charge to tell Muslims, do not vote for this man, Biden. Even carrying it on, threatening to do that in the general election, to say, we'll sit that race out, even if it means Donald Trump gets reelected. So it was, I guess that would have been, so that's what she was up to. So sure, you couple that with, as you mentioned, Scott, who she has a lot of self-confidence in herself. I can see why she would make the claim that she leads a movement. And now she's going to run for state Senate. And sadly, I live in that Senate district. So
do you have a Republican to vote for in that race?
I don't even know. I heard I saw a message floating around that the Republican Party is desperately looking for a sacrificial lamb. So,
but they didn't come knocking on your door, I noticed.
No. Not interested in being a sacrificial lamb.
What's the makeup of the Senate district?
Oh, it's look. I mean, some people say, "Oh, it's winnable." It's not winnable. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not. It's not winnable. I'd have to look up the numbers. Probably
This is a seat that's being vacated
57. Yeah,
by
Nabila
Nabila
Islam
Parks,
Yeah,
who is running for insurance commissioner against
Yes.
John King. So
yes.
she's vacating that seat. And I guess the Democrats probably didn't have anybody viable
There's
there
another
either.
there's another candidate, an ACLU lawyer, and I'm sorry I forget his name. He's running because he's upset that the FBI seized the Fulton County ballots. So that's why he's running.
I'm a little crossways with the ACLU right about now. They have some objections to a bill that I'm working on that their objections make no sense.
Yeah.
At all. And I've tried to see it from their point of view. It just doesn't make any sense. You're objecting just for the sake of objecting, and it's annoying me greatly.
Yeah.
If I was going to rail and rant like you predicted, it would be against the ACLU this week.
So, I guess the bottom line is there ain't no moderate Democrat running to be my state senator, and I don't even know if there's a Republican, and I'm not interested in being a sacrificial lamb. So,
as we record, we are waiting to hear or to find the written ruling in the Rick Jackson versus Burt Jones lawsuit around the leadership PAC. I wanted to share some things that I heard during the week. Again, this is all rumor, unsubstantiated rumor, but the judge had ruled, we talked about a little bit on last week's podcast, that the Jackson campaign was right, that the Burt Jones campaign should not be spending money out of leadership PAC during the primary to support the primary candidacy of Burt Jones. And the reason for that is all the other candidates don't have access to that. You can't create an unequal funding mechanism because the leadership PACs don't have limits. If you wanted to give a $50,000 contribution to the leadership PAC, you're allowed to do that under the law. However, Rick Jackson's campaign and all the other campaigns that don't have leadership PACs attached to them, and that would be every other candidate seeking their governor's nomination and for the GOP, they are limited. There's a maximum contribution level that they have. And so a judge has ruled they cannot. And there was an oral ruling. Now, something I heard that was interesting is that the PAC had tried to buy as much as they possibly could ahead of the ruling.
Mm-hmm.
And in the oral ruling, the judge did not say anything that you have spent has to come back. But we're expecting that the written ruling will model the same ruling that came in the Perdue versus Brian Kemp case, where David Perdue successfully forced the Kemp campaign from spending money, and anything that had been spent had to be refunded to the PAC.
And I have seen ads from the Burt Jones PAC. What's it called? The WBJ, I guess it's called, PAC Leadership Committee. I've seen ads since that ruling was announced. So, just saying.
Right.
I don't know if that will upset the judge or not. I'm sure there are people, opponents of Burt Jones, monitoring that to see to inform the judge if that is indeed what the judge wants to happen.
But when we get the ruling, we're going to publish it on the blog so
Sure.
that the readers will have it.
Because
Was there anything else?
Set aside Burt Jones. This law has always been problematic for this very reason. It creates an unequal playing field. And let me tell you, Republicans would be screaming like crazy if the situation were reversed and Governor Stacey Abrams were taking advantage of this and racking up giant sums of cash while the legislature can't accept a penny and using it to beat Republicans over the head with come election time. So it's just, change it.
Yeah, it needs to be changed. It never was fair. It needs to be fair. Last topic of the night before we go, an update on Congressional District 11, the race to replace Barry Loudermilk, Rob Ackerson. No, look, full transparency. I wrote a check to Rob Ackerson today. So I was asked by somebody this week, you're probably not going to appreciate me asking, but are you getting paid by Rob Ackerson? No.
Don't have
As a matter of fact, no. As a matter of fact, I am trying to write the biggest check I possibly can. It's not
You're
huge.
paying him.
Right. I don't make a lot of money. I don't. I work for a nonprofit. I don't make a ton of money. I had to rearrange some things to write up what I consider to be a sacrificial gift to the Rob Ackerson for Congress campaign.
Oh,
other people will look it up and they'll see how small it was and realize, oh wow, Scott really doesn't make a lot of money. Either that or he's super cheap. But it was a big enough for me. It is a sacrificial gift. I really am supporting Rob. He's not paying me. I am excited to have somebody I can support wholeheartedly and vote for, not just have somebody I'm voting against, which happens to me a lot. Like when I'm voting in the booth, I'm picking the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, you and I, it's almost the inverse endorsement for you and me. we support somebody and say, well, that's somebody who's probably not going to win. But no, I think Rob, I in this case, Rob is an awesome candidate. I'm excited to see him run. I don't live in the district. I too sent a small contribution working for a nonprofit.
Right.
My wife doesn't know yet, but she'll see it see it soon.
Right. But when you find somebody you're really excited about, you should write them a check. You should be willing to invest in them. So no, I'm not getting paid by the Ackerson campaign at all. I do have very strong opinions because I live here. This is going to be my own congressional race. But I'm saying this so that those who are out there who are wondering, you don't have to wonder. I'm being transparent. I'm on Team Ackerson, not because I'm being paid, but because I want him to win. And one of the things that we have perpetually heard since the moment Loudermilk decided to retire at the end of this term and not seek reelection was this black cloud that I refer to as a black cloud. Other people might see him as a ray of sunshine. The gentleman from Louisiana, who is now the United States Treasurer, Brandon Beach, who I served with in the Cherokee delegation for 8 full years. And so I've gotten to know really well. And there's nothing in the world that Brandon Beach could run for that I would vote for him. I joked. Maybe I was joking. If you wondered who in Georgia politics I like the least, you don't have to wonder. You don't have to wonder. And a lot of it is, I've tried to be friendly and funny and just kind of rib Brandon. Brandon takes my friendly jabs as knives in the back a lot of times. Even when I'm just kidding around with him, he can't take a joke at all, ever.
Yeah, and who bears the brunt of that? Me. But when he was a senator, there was several times where he almost dislocated my shoulder, slapping me on the back and saying, how's Scott Turner doing, huh? And I said, well, you know him, why don't you go ask him? So,
but that's the type of guy he was. He'd go talk to you. He would see me in the hall. He wouldn't say a damn word to me. Not a single word. Hey, Scott, how's it going? But gives you crap. That's the most cowardly thing you can do in politics is hold somebody else accountable for something their friend does. Just come talk to the person you have a problem with. That's what I do. I know it's probably why Brandon and I don't get along, is when I have a problem, I'm like, hey, I have a problem with you. Let's talk it out. Okay. No, that's not him. He's going to go slap and give my podcast partner an excuse to get shoulder surgery prematurely.
Look, it's all good. In the words of Super Chicken, I knew the job was dangerous when I took it, Fred. So.
Right. But we've been hearing for weeks now, right?
Yes.
He was going to get in and he's going to have the Trump endorsement. He was going to get in. We heard the week that Barry called us and told us he wasn't going to seek reelection. We heard the treasurer is going to meet with the president on Friday. And then
and then for a week and a half, it was tomorrow. It's going down tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And then tomorrow
he's flying down on Air Force One
Right. We heard he was going to fly down on Air Force One, but he didn't fly down on Air Force One because he was on the tarmac when the president arrived to greet the president.
Yeah.
We were told that he would be asking for the endorsement in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
That was days and days ago. No endorsement. We heard
we were told that he had already packed up his office and had returned to Atlanta.
Yeah, that the announcement would happen this past Monday because he would be quitting last Friday, a week ago today.
Then it was Tuesday. Then it was Wednesday.
Right.
And here we are.
And then we heard
recording
today,
Friday afternoon.
Right. And then on Wednesday morning, I heard that he was at the State of the Union on Tuesday and told somebody at the State of the Union, I don't think Donald Trump wants me to do that. But he's allowed the rumor to stay out there.
Yeah.
And then we heard just before we came on, somebody in the Signal chat came forward and said, hey, I talked to Tricia Pridemore today, and apparently Brandon is out, so Tricia Pridemore's getting in.
There you go.
Profiles in Courage is not going to honor Tricia Pridemore for waiting to figure out whether or not Brandon Beach was going to get in the race before she would declare her own candidacy for the seat.
Yeah.
I think it's weak sauce. Obviously, I'll remind you with Team Ackerson, but I think it's really weak because Rob was in no matter what, whether it was going to be Brandon or one of the other candidates who do not live in the district who are running. Rob was going to get in no matter what because he has a vision for what he'd like to do in Congress, regardless of who the opponents are going to be.
Yeah.
He wants to give voice to a segment of voters who understand that there are things Donald Trump's doing are great. And there are things constitutionally that we need to protect. And he bridges a whole bunch of different types of Republicans that need to be represented. All of these different coalitions that make up the Republican Party. I see a representative in Rob Ackerson for all of that. And he knows that on day one how to do the job because he's been the chief the entire time Loudermilk's been there, full 12 years. So an experienced person at the helm who is a genuinely good human being first and foremost, but also understands conservative policy and goals and can work with the White House, can work with the president. Yeah. He's the best of all worlds. So along comes Tricia Pridemore at the very last minute. Well, since Beach is not going to get in there, and I already know I can't win my reelect because I made some really bad decisions as a public service commissioner, I'm going to try my hand in the 11th Congressional District, and I will renew my call. Tricia, please don't. You're just wasting everybody's time. You're wasting your own money and time. You're not electable. I ain't going to vote for you. If you're the nominee, I'm going to have a hard time pressing the button for you because every time I look at my power bill, I think Fitz Johnson and Tricia Pridemore did this to me. And that's what I think every time. My Georgia power bill, oh my gosh, it's so much higher. Why? Tricia Pridemore did that to me. Tell me I'm wrong, Buzz.
Well, that is certainly the, I think I had a conversation with a friend that we serve with. Actually, he's out now with an op-ed, so I'm not outing him, but Jason Shaw, who's on there, we serve with. And I understand they're kind of in a pickle when it comes to data centers and stuff, which is kind of fueling why Georgia Power wants all these rate increases because they got to build out more capacity. But anyway, I think if she's going to go out and do this, then she has to be prepared to defend those votes and explain to people why she voted the way she voted, or she ain't gonna make it.
Probably not.
Now, Scott, there were two things I want to add to this discussion. I've been impressed with the people, leaders, and elected and former elected officials who have come and endorsed Rob Ackerson. There's a number of them, quite a few, in Cherokee and Cobb. So that's impressive. That's a good rollout to his campaign. There are other candidates already announced. We've mentioned before John Cowan, who's run before against Marjorie Taylor Greene over in the 14th, and then you mentioned local activist Chris Mora. But Scott, according to politics,
a GRA guy,
yeah. But Scott, according to Politics One, there are 6 Democrats who have announced that they are running, and 1 independent. So Democrats and independents are very enthusiastic, thinking they're going to run for this seat. So we'll see if they actually come across
their hearts.
We'll see if they actually come across and cut a check and have that check clear and get themselves on the ballot. So
you got anything else you want to add before we head out?
Well, one thing, Scott, that I think is kind of humorous, lighthearted. We've got this resolution by Representative Eric Bell to name lemon pepper wings the official wings of the state of Georgia. We made note of their tie to Magic City, the infamous strip club. And Scott, I don't know if you saw the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks of the National Basketball Association. Monday's game is going to be Magic City Monday.
Against the Orlando Magic.
Against the Orlando Magic. They've already got special hoodies and stuff that you could buy that say Magic City on them. And Scott, the list price for the tickets for the game have shot up to $278, according to Game Time, one of the ticket brokers. So I don't know. This is the most Atlanta.
Are they going to have a halftime show of the talent from Magic City on display?
Apparently the employees, the star attractions of Magic City are not going to be there. But I do think lemon pepper wings will be. So I don't know if Representative Bell will be on hand.
I tell you,
Representative Lou Williams is coming back. I don't know.
Representative Bell is having some fun. And God bless him. And again, I know there are people who get really upset. They're like, I can't believe they're wasting their time. There's so many more. Let him have it.
Sure.
Let him have it. If it gets him to vote for the constitutional amendment for property taxes, give it to him.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, every week we shout out the people who rock. These are the people
Scott,
who
hold on, to interrupt that. Dale Murphy was at the Capitol the other day, right? And
he was yesterday.
In a more, I took note that Representative Will Wade had dropped a resolution calling for Dale Murphy, calling for justice to happen, that Dale Murphy be added to the Hall of Fame. I texted Representative Wade, said, given that you're one of Governor Kemp's floor leaders, am I safe in assuming that the governor is supportive of this? And he said, absolutely. And now we have a more formal word from Governor Kemp that he is all in on trying to get Dale Murphy to the Hall of Fame. There's wonderful pictures there of him meeting the governor and the first lady. And so I endorse this 110%, and I hope all Georgians of goodwill will as well.
Also, the social media post within the Peach Pundit community of the week will go to Sam Thomas, who said that the Braves, who announced their new TV deal this week, will be called Braves.tv, missed an opportunity when it should have simply been called the Braves Station, or TBS for short.
TBS, there you go, yes.
Good on you, Sam.
Well done, Sam.
Saw that. That was good. Good call. Every single week, we shout out the people who rock. These are the people who go over to patreon.com/peachpundit. They're also entitled to join us in our Peach Pundit Signal chat. $5 a month. It's all you need to join this club. You can go to a higher tier. There are other benefits to that, but as little as $5 a month. Come join us, patreon.com/peachpundit. We know that there are a lot of listeners who listen to the podcast and don't join the Patreon. You can just hit the like button on this podcast. That'll help us a ton as well. But these are the people who rock. Adam Pethel, Tony West and Friends at Americans for Prosperity, Amy Davis, several members who have chosen to remain anonymous, including one who wants you to know more about the Alzheimer's Association. Bethany Ballard, Bill Werkheiser, Bo Brannon, Brittany Ellison, new this week, Colin Martin, Daniel Shaver, Elizabeth Clare, Frank Russo, Gabe Hartwig, Jeff Cobble, Greer Howard, Hank Burnham, Harrison Edwards, Jacqueline Harn, James Hall, Jason Bankston, John Vestal, Jordan Reed, JT Marshburn, Ken Pullen, Kenyatta Mitchell, Alton Sack, Mark Pettit, also new this week, Mike Buchert, Reed Powell, Robert Lee and our friends at Lee6 Media, Ron Daniels, Ryan Graham, Ryan Purvis, Sam Thomas, Sergio Ortega, Shannon Ferguson, Stuart Wilkinson, and Terry Fye. Thank you each and all. Thank you for listening. I am Scott Turner. That is Buzz Brockway. All the music you hear is original by Jason Pye. Peach Pundit is owned and published by me, Scott Turner. Have a great week.
Go Jackets.